Well, good morning. It's October the 2nd. It was soaking wet out yesterday, so that's why I didn't do this update yesterday. But we need a video record of what's going on here. Grapes are getting ripe. It was September the 29th when I done the first harvest last year. So, sometime today, tomorrow, something, I'll do the first harvest on grapes. It's quite cool out. MSN is saying we're going to have frost tomorrow night, but then the Weather Network is saying that it's going to be 4 degrees. Wind is up, so if there's too much wind noise in the mic, I'll have to do a voiceover, but that's okay. I got 6 loads of wood in, and my arms are giving me a lot of pain, so it's slowing me down, but we'll keep going. I took the battery apart on my lawnmower, and then the spot welder I had wasn't doing well for putting it back together, so I'm going to get a new spot welder, but that means there will be no more mowing of the grass for this year. The tomato vines, you see, they're all starting to fade. So this is the temperature, and maybe I'll just take the tomatoes in now. Well, not right now. I have to go to Lewisburg today, but I mean sometime in the next couple of days, and I'll see, because of that frost being threatened. I've been very happy with the Brandywines this year due to their giving me a lot of very big tomatoes, and I'm not getting tired about the potato pancakes I'm having for breakfast. Now, let me see, I got a slug here, and what happened is that the variation in moisture caused this tomato to crack, and that's where it's getting in that weak part. And that is the problem with letting these sit on the ground, is that with those weak parts, even just bacteria or fungus can get in there, eh? And if it's sitting on the ground, it can start to rot in those parts. So, but the other thing is that these plants, they're not evolved or developed to hold those big tomatoes. So I don't know how it's going to work when I put these up on a vine and I'm trying to keep the tomatoes up off the ground. However, those cracks, when they're up in the air, usually they just dry up and all as well. You don't get fungus or bugs in there. So that's the next year's project. I finally got to this. Now, previously, I had the cold room, so that behind that window is the cold room, and it didn't really get warm in the cold one called the cold room until we had like a week of 30-degree maximum temperatures. Until this year. This house is sitting on, it's just a DIY basement, right? So not professionally done. And the house was jacked up, the basement was put around, and the house was just put back on. So it's just sitting on the wall. It's not bolted down to the concrete or with a proper sill or anything. So which means all the way around, there was places where rodents could get into the house. And over time, I was finding those and plugging them up with that spray and foam. And late last fall, I got the last one done. And that's why that orange is there. I was outside, from outside, I whacked a whole bunch of foam in, and it's of course come back out like that. That's the pest blocker foam. But that was my vent for the cold room. And so with that plugged up and having the deep freezers in the cold room, then the temperature shot up in the cold room and it was warm all winter. So I realized that just a couple of weeks ago, and I got here and I took the glass out, put in a board, and those two pipes there's this screen on the inside so that bugs can't go in to the cold room. And so I got one for air out, and then the other one is the cold air return. The temperature is going down in the inside there now, but it's going to take a while because, well, with this temperature it shouldn't take all that long. It should get fairly cool in there pretty quick. This tomato is bush beefsteak, and there's some that aren't perfectly shaped, but I've got a lot of perfectly shaped. Oh, he just fell off too. See, now some of them you do that and they're just coming off as well, so I have to come out and pick that up. But perfect tomatoes, you couldn't ask for a more perfect tomato off this bush beefsteak plant. Lata is a nice tomato, and it gives you, I mean, that's the size the tomato gives you. So if you were, that's the ones that I would just put in the deep freezer and process later on. You can use them for making tomato soup, tomato paste, whatever you want. See, lata is if you want a smaller, lata and bush beefsteak, if you want something that's just bush beefsteak size, right? A normal size burger, a bush beefsteak sliced across the middle would fill that one out. This one is smaller. What's the next one I had here? Beaver Lodge slicer. So it's getting not quite as big as bush beefsteak. It's something that it makes a good tomato sandwich tomato, and you put on several slices. Now, once again, brandy wine, you just put on one slice on a slice of bread, right? But the thing is, with brandy wine, well, I don't like slicing things open and then just using one piece of it, and I've got to put the rest back for later. So if you got something like a Beaver Lodge slicer and you're wanting to make a tomato sandwich, then you'd more likely use up the one full tomato. Is this all Beaver Lodge slicer down the end? I got some nice tomatoes, so yeah, pretty soon we'll do the harvest of the tomatoes, and we'll see what the final tally is of how much tomatoes I got. I have 36 kilograms so far. Berkeley tie-dye didn't do as well this year, but as I said last year, it is one tasty tomato. And we go along here, on average they did well. I'm not going to take up the plants. You see, I got a flower right there. I just let them flower and do their thing, and if we get the temperatures goes back up, then I might get more of a tomato, who knows. Here's another one where somebody got in there with a weak spot. You see those 3 dark lines there? I guess there was another weak spot right there. Someone got in there. So I got 2 cucumbers off of this plant. And I don't know if I showed you the last one, so I'll put another one in there. I did take a little video clip of how big it was. It was a really nice cucumber, the second one. Got one right there, but I don't know if it's going to grow to anything. I got several ground cherries, quite a few actually, and I mean still only enough for garden candy. You eat them as they fall, but still, I'm quite happy, and there's a lot on there. So depending on how long the frost holds off, I'll have to see what's ripe enough to be eaten if the frost comes along and kills the plant. I haven't been showing you this one because this one is just a little runt of a thing, but I did get one ripe cherry off it, and there's quite a few on there now. And of course there's the other one. But with colder temperatures, they're ripening up very fast now. Wild plants, the leaves are starting to turn color. Along with the maple tree, it's all starting to turn now. And some maple leaves are starting to fall. So yeah, the leaves are starting to turn on the spice bush. See, that's just from the cold weather. Look at how high the pond is getting. So it might just build up over time, and that dam that I put there plug off and it fill right up. I was out there the other day and there was a frog, or American toad is what it is, up in this pond. So that was nice that he was taking care of it. But when I was mowing deeper grass that I hadn't gotten to, I scared out a lot of toads. So growing up among the Jerusalem artichoke, I have this cucumber plant that seems to be doing quite fine, being protected of course by the other foliage. Out front here, where it's more exposed, they're starting to fade due to the cold weather. This cucumber is not fully grown yet, but I think I might take what cucumbers are here too and put them up into another bottle of pickles. This silly thing is still putting out female flowers. It's like, I mean, I'm letting it do it because, well, at what point? I did though. See, I cut it off at the end there, so it was not growing anymore. But I'm just letting it do its thing because there's no pumpkin actually growing on it. There's several female flowers. And this here, I got this left on here just because I wanted to put it in this video. That's not going to grow anymore, so I'm going to take that off and bring it in and fry it up like I did the other ones. Not looking all that healthy now, is it? So like every year, the fungus set in on them and it's losing its leaves, and it'll come back next year looking like nothing happened. All the mulberries, they'll drop their leaves now. The other ones will probably be the same as this one. Now this is something else I've been getting, garden treats. I think I talk about this every year. The golden raspberries. I guess they're what you would call everbearing, but they put out this flush of berries on the tip of the new shoot in the fall if the growing season goes on long enough, and then next year this
cane, we'll send out a bunch of side shoots, and he's too hard, he's not ready to be picked yet. But I come out here every day now and just see if there's a few there just for a treat, right? We don't have a long enough growing season for that fall flush to fully mature yet. Let's see. Here's a couple right here that I can have for a treat today. You see, the Romeo cherry is down below. It's got most of its leaves, lost them. This here is a copy, a clone of that cherry down below. And as you can see, it's still got all its leaves. So, is it where it's planted, or what is it? It's a question I wouldn't be able to answer. Another difference between currants and gooseberries, eh? So there's the currant, leaves are just starting to turn, and then we come over to the gooseberry, and well, they're all turned red. On the currant, they're turning a more of a light orange to yellow color, and on the gooseberries they turn just this bright red color. In among this, you go down here. This is the one I've been showing you before, and you see the stalk there. It attaches it to the plant. That's drying out. It's getting harder, but I can still mark it fairly easy with my thumbnail. There's another one in here somewhere, but I can't remember where it is. I brought the shovel over with me so I can move them away. I didn't bring my gloves out. I'm going to show you now. So that's my one really good black fish skew down right there. I think that's all big they grow, actually. It is not mature yet, but I think it's mature enough that I'll be able to get some good seeds out of it. And as far as the stinging that was growing up around it like that, I thought, you know, I can leave that there, and any squash that's in there, all that foliage above it, will protect it from the first couple of frosts. So I don't have to worry about frost getting to my squash in here. I was thinking that these would grow more, but as you can see, they're turning quite light now, so they're not going to grow anymore. So I had to pick them anyway. And like I say, put them in the brine to pickle. There's another one down right there, so I'll have another. I made up like 56, 58 bottles of pickles or something this year. That's the pumpkin that hopefully it tastes good, but I can't save seeds because, well, I can save seeds, but I don't know what's going to become of them if I try to grow them out. I got some nice rutabaga. I mean, I don't have very many, but what I do have, most of them are nice. And I've been having a few meals of broccoli, so that was coming along nice. See these seeds, you see how it's dried right back now. All these stalks have dried back to the main stalk. So all of these seeds are ready to be picked. Now, if you take this one, it's not dried back, so I mean, they might be viable and they might not. I doubt they are. I wait until they get a dark brown like this and the stalks are drying back. And most of this plant over here is like that, and we've got more down here. So there's a lot of fully mature dill seeds. I'm going to take some, probably just off this plant. I'll let those over there just fall down in the bed, but take these and spread them around and see what volunteer dill I get next year. I'm not going to do very well with the potatoes, I don't think. I've been taking some up because, well, I was out of potatoes from last year, and so I was just coming out and getting a meal when I need them. And no, it's not doing very well at all. But oh well. This here, of course, is your Kennebec, so that's why they're still alive. They'll be alive until the frost comes. We've got all the apples picked. There's a couple on the tree there, but not very many. I had, it was about 11, 12 5-gallon bucketfuls is what I kept. I sold 3 and I give away 1, so that makes 15, 16 5-gallon bucketfuls of apples off of the 5 trees, that is. I have a nice firm head of cabbage. I don't get huge heads, but this one is nice and firm. There's a head over there. It's not really all that firm, but it's a nice head of cabbage. Then I have this one. This is one of those cone-shaped jobbies, and it's firming up. I'm going to get something good out of that. So I'll be able to make a good-sized batch of cabbage casserole to put in the freezer for freezer meals. This is going to be one of those years where, depending on the temperature, you see all the little Brussels sprouts starting. So we could, like I say, Christmas time or something, we might have Brussels sprouts to harvest. Can't remember if I showed you before, but I have this little butternut squash growing here. So I do have, I mean, it's big enough now. I'll be able to make a pot of soup with it and have a couple of meals. This one down here is still a little tiny thing. So he's only good enough to be sliced and fried. I think the blueberry plant's done very well here. There's the 1 and the 2. So I'm excited to watch them grow next year. And, well, that's lettuce there. The flowers haven't opened yet, so temperature dependent whether or not that's going to self-seed. The cucamelons, you see how tiny their flowers are? I'm still putting out flowers, but it grew very well. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it grew quite well enough for me to plant them again next year. And hopefully I get a bunch of little cucamelons to make little dill pickles out of. It's wet out. I don't like taking in these beans when they're wet. This is the rest of the black turtle. But you see some of them are not even fully ripe yet. But I think it's come the time now that I'm just going to have to take them all in, and the ones that aren't ripe, take them as Greta says, demisec. You see the turnip, the rutabaga down there? So that's another nice rutabaga. I got one there. And there's one over there and another one there. That's volunteer or seeds that didn't sprout last year or something there. As far as these 2 beds go, we've got rutabaga to sprout and carrots, and I just leave them there and see what happens. I'm not going to bother to even pull any of those up until I find a big one among it. Beets now. I mean, look at the size of that one, eh? I got a real nice harvest of beets I'm going to have out of that just one bed of beets. Another immature squash, but like the Long Island cheese one I showed you, it stopped growing. So I'll just have to take that in and fry it up, and I don't get to find out what delicata tastes like this year either. I'm going to keep trying because I think I can grow, and according to the description, I think I'm going to like delicata. A turnip, see, turnip can grow pretty big. Yeah, they are a little better when they're smaller, but they are still good when you let them grow larger too. So I just let them grow, and I got more food, right? Try to start those seeds that my friend gave me. These are the Japanese or Chinese long bean, but that's as far as they got. They didn't want to grow at all. See how long the videos take, but there's onions in here, so I'll pick up the onions. This is a good question, whether I should leave them. See, I don't like the idea of frost getting to the onions because I'm afraid they're going to, it'll cause them to not last, and they rot fairly quickly. So that's the ones that I was able to grow from seed. And as you can see, still going strong, right? I brought the peppers into the sunroom some weeks ago now. Some people hang them up. I just lay them out on the screen. There's long ones now. I mean, these here have been sitting here for quite a while, and they just shrivel up like that. And as the humidity in the house drops in the winter, they'll go just really brittle, and I'll be able to break them up into pepper flakes. I'm leaving these few almond paprika here to see what happens if I just leave them whole. And I have some there that I cut up. When you cut them up, they'll dry up like that, and I don't know how they dry if you just leave them whole. However, here's the plants, and I haven't cut them down. People say to we cut them back and store them for the winter, because I'm wanting the peppers to ripen on the plant. Right, so they're in here slowly ripening up. I've got California Wonders, almond paprika, Shiitake Ghost. This is one of the Shiitake Ghosts right here, and there's a bunch of flowers. I don't know, these flowers look a little bit bad, but you see how many flowers is on there. Now I wasn't successful at really hand pollinating them, so I was thinking, I wonder, you know, if I just shake the plant, and especially this one over here, and you see how many flowers is on there? If I just shook it like that, I wonder if I'd be successful in getting them to pollinate. Here's one. So earlier the year, now this one I didn't take outside, and it had grown right up to the ceiling. And I was cutting off, see what it would do. And you see how it's sending out all these little side shoots? Because it's still warm in here. So essentially, I don't know if it's a good idea for me to cut these down now or wait until the temperature is down to around 10-12 degrees here in the sunroom and then cut them down, because otherwise I'm going to have a bushy plant that's already bushing out sitting here. If I cut them down later on, they would probably overwinter better, I think. Now this is going to be my first time, so if you know anything, got any opinions on that, you can leave it in the comments below. Well, it's the next day now. We won't get frost tonight. And if you live near the jet stream, you know that means we probably won't get frost for another 2 weeks. So I'll just pick the tomatoes that are close to ripe or have damaged spots on them and leave the rest out here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you're not subscribed. Go ahead, subscribe and follow along for watching a gardener in the boreal forest. See you in the next video.